So, I just want to do this quick review. So, I have here the Hati-S Stardust with the 3389, the more premium Hati-S, if you can call it that. And I have here the regular 3360 Hati-S. Slightly cheaper, about €10 on MaxGaming. So, it's like the cost of shipping for me, like free compared to the Stardust. And I just received this today. I've been using the Stardust for about, since it came out. I jumped on that bandwagon, very much approve of this mouse. Very, very nice, comfy in my 17:9 hands. So smaller side hands, but very good for me nonetheless. Now, let's go over some things straight away. This is not a review of the mouse. It's a comparison between the mice. But let me first say what's the good and bad about the Hati-S as a quick rattle off. If you want a more in-depth review, go and watch someone else who's done an actual review of the mouse individually. Okay, starting off, good mouse, good feet. Both have the same feet. I run these both at 800 DPI, 1000 Hz. If anyone needs to know that, probably not. Yeah, so the main difference is that this mouse, the 3360 version, has a 3360 sensor, or the standard version has a 3360 sensor. Stardust is 3389. Okay, they both perform very, very similar. The Stardust has holes in the side. The regular does not, which for a lot of people is going to make the regular just better for them, because I personally don't mind it. I do run grips on the Hati-S, and that's because when I got it, I was used to like wider mouse, and it wasn't the side holes that were causing me issue. It was just that the mouse is quite thin and tall. So I could probably take the grips off, but I'm just kind of used to them now. Actually, I feel like this does feel a little bit better, so maybe the holes were causing me some issues to begin with. But right now, this is fine. Buttons feel the same. Scroll wheel on this is a little tighter on the 3360, but I have been using this one for a month, and it's not uncommon for the encoders to kind of loosen up a bit with use. Feels fine. If you want click sound comparisons, go somewhere else, because to be honest, they both sound exactly the same, and my mic probably isn't a great audio setup for click sounds anyway. You just hear some muffled like click, 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 so who cares. Both have the same feet design. Okay. That's something. Both have different driver softwares, and they're not interchangeable. I've checked that already. The Stardust is the Ace driver software. It says on the mouse Ace Edition on the bottom. This is just Classic Edition, so you get the classic software. They have a different paint job. I think that should be fairly obvious. I did some wear testing. Now, I didn't take the grips off this Hati, but I measured the grips that come with these, or weighed the grips that came with this, and they're the same, just a different color, and they weigh about like 1 gram each, the sides. So this mouse comes on at my scales without the cables, because you can take these out. This mouse comes at 50 grams, like 49, 50 grams. This mouse comes at 50, 51 grams. I've weighed them a couple of times each just to re-zero scale, get a good idea, get rid of some error. But essentially, for no holes in the sides, you're taking like a couple of grams more, so not a significant weight increase. I think it's arguable. You could argue that these are the same weight, especially if you're someone who's going to need to put grips on the side. The grips are nice. They're just not necessary because of the mouse profile. What else? Clicks. The main difference I've noticed just generally in the clicks is that the top button on the DPI top button on this Hati, on the Hati Classic, feels a little tighter and nicer than this top button. But I have used this one for a while now, and this is brand new unboxed today. So, it could just bed in exactly the same. Who knows? But still fantastic clicks. Side buttons on the Stardust feel much better. I feel like the switches are binned better. I say much better. They just feel slightly better. But, I'm trying to use hyperbole just to compare to what are essentially the same mice, because I'm really clutching at straws here. So maybe the Hati-S Stardust, with it being the Ace, the special edition, has nicer binned switches, because the clicks on this feel fucking great. Like, wow, these feel like good clicks. I feel like I've won the lottery on that when I've talked to some other people. These mice just feel like standard switch clicks. Not bad. So, good. Very little pre and post travel on both these mice. Scroll wheels feel great, no wobble. So, that's kind of a quick rundown. Oh, another thing to mention, because people don't seem to mention this, but the blue cable, which is a spare cable you get with the Hati-S, multiple people I've spoken to say that this performs better than or feels, like more like a paracord than the black cable that comes. Like, this is really stiff, the black cable that comes with the Stardust. And it's the same black cable that comes with this. The feeling is that with this being a secondary cable, they can afford to not meet shielding requirements as high with this particular cable, so they can sell it. Whereas because this is the main cable, it has to meet certain shielding requirements for country specifications. So that's my take from that. But you can get a paracord for both of these mice. I will just get into that quickly, because again, this is something I don't see people talk about. Now, with micro USB, I'm always wary of it because I know that these micro USB connections can pull on something, like, especially if a mouse like this, if you've got like quite a stiff cable, or even like a paracord, there's always the chance that over time, over years of use, or even just months of use, you're going to wobble that PCB connection loose, or it's going to damage the soldering, and it's going to cut and it's going to snap. Now, what G-Wolves have done is this plastic sheath has these ridges on it. So there's ridges in the body of the mouse, and there's ridges on the USB. So let's just unplug one. Very tight in as well, which is good. So you can see there's some little ridges there. No, it's not great. And they slot into ridges on the mouse. Now, what that does is it stabilizes the connection in the mouse and prevents wobble. They're very tightly in, which is good. You want that in a cable like this. I have a paracord from Seasoner that arrived today. It does not have those ridges. It is just a unshielded but crimped USB micro B connector, and it provided some heat shrink. So that's the best he can do, because it's not like he can just rock up and say, "Hey, G-Wolves, give me these," because but that's going to fit and be compatible. So maybe you could cannibalize one of your because you obviously get a spare cable. If you do order like a paracord, you probably cannibalize one of the old cables and take the plastic connector off. So thanks, G-Wolves. Thanks for the spare cable in the box. Okay, so another thing you might have noticed is this mouse has RGB on the G-Wolves logo, Stardust. In the software, there is nothing for RGB, and also my LED just doesn't seem to want to light up. Who knows? Who knows? It does not bother me in the slightest. I'm pretty sure this mouse, I have a feeling it doesn't have RGB, because in the driver profile there is nothing about RGB there, whereas there is for this one. But there is also no light, and I could change lighting modes and bright and steady, and there's not light on there. So I think that's just defunct. It does not bother me in the slightest. The mouse still functions perfectly fine. Okay, but be aware, first batch issues are first batch. I'm pretty sure you could, on an issue like this, you can get everything. Oh look, you can see the light, the purple light. That's the sensor that your human eyes can't pick up. That's the infrared light. Does it do this one? Yeah, look at that. You see? Hey, that's pretty cool. There you go. Look at that. Your eyes can't pick that up. But that's the IR light from your optical sensor. So, feel very similar. I think this is just safer because of no holes in the side buttons. But let's get on to what's really confusing then. Now, I was expecting I would pick these mice up and go, oh yeah, the Stardust feels more premium. It doesn't, because this mouse doesn't feel bad. Like, the Stardust, to me, is worth it. Because on MaxGaming, I paid about, including shipping to the UK, and MaxGaming is in Sweden, bear in mind, I paid like £95, £90 for this mouse. Now, I'm the type of person who will pay anything for the mouse, okay? Not everyone's like that. If you're price conscious, is it worth it to you? Well, I don't know. I don't know that. It's worth it to me. I really care about my mouse. I can't say it's worth it to everyone, though. Now, this mouse, the Hati-S Classic, compared to the Stardust or the Ace, you can tell because when you go to download the drivers, it does have Ace on the bottom there. So you download the Ace drivers for that because they're not interchangeable. This doesn't feel bad, but the plastic quality, it doesn't come across well on camera, but the plastic quality or the color quality, the way the color's been applied to this top shell looks quite like toy and cheapish. Like, it's not a rich color, it's quite a faded red, but it's not a bad red. Like, I am really nitpicking here because I've got two of what are essentially the same product. Now, what's confusing is this is not a cheap mouse. And this is meant to be the cheaper version, the more accessible version of the Stardust. This is also not a cheap mouse. It's about €10 cheaper. So why? Like, with this, you get the classic in the box. If you want to see an unboxing or want to see what you get in the box, the best thing you can do is go to Attack Tech and look at the website and listing for the Hati-S Classic, because they have a picture of it and you have the picture of the full box contents. But I understand why with the premium collectors, whatever you want to call the Stardust variant of the mouse, you get extra switches, you get extra feet, you get a brush, you get a little carry bag, you get the tin, you get grips, all with the mouse, okay? Because this is the idea is this is marketed at the enthusiast, where this is just meant to be your accessible variant that you just pick up. So it doesn't make sense. Like, these mice are too close in price for me to like even comment on like this mouse here, the regular Hati-S, the Hati-S Classic, which is what this red variant is. In my mind, it should be about a €50, €60 mouse, not a €70, €80 mouse. And it should come with just some extra feet in like a more standard cardboard box. Because the idea of the Classic is the type of person who's going to want to actually need those switches, them extra rose gold switches you get, and install them in their mouse is probably just going to buy the Stardust because it's the enthusiast grade. Give me a version of this mouse that's more accessible, like a €50, €60 mouse. Because this is better than a Model O minus. I've gone through Model O minuses. They're just not great in execution. This is better. You know, God forbid. This is better than the Mirror S for me. In almost every way, it's more comfy. I kind of prefer the driver software for this. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I just kind of, I don't know, it makes more sense to me the way it's laid out. But that is really clutching at straws. The shape feels much, much better. Weight-wise, like, wow, there's a difference. Feet design, I kind of like the single glide at the back as well. Like, I don't know. This is a good mouse, but it's just this one's overpriced. I understand with the Stardust because the idea is it's a premium product you pay premium for to the enthusiasts. But give your guy who just wants the Hati-S but, you know, doesn't want to spend like what I'll call Logitech money on a wired lightweight mouse, because it makes no sense. Like, why do these products exist? Like, this is too expensive. And what I'm worried with G-Wolves, and it's my thought with G-Wolves, even though I like these mice, are they selling you a subpar product with extra fancy packaging to give you the illusion of high quality? And that's always a concern with these kind of mice, or with G-Wolves for me. Because who's buying this who needs extra, who's going to be able to solder in new switches themselves? You know, not everyone has a soldering iron. So yeah, sell it with the enthusiast, don't sell it with this. Like, why are you doing that to yourselves? That's not good. Like, make this affordable to people. Go on, do it. Very, very, very confusing to me. Maybe it's something that works in mainland China but doesn't work internationally. Like, maybe there's some other reason. Who knows? It's a good mouse. I like the mouse. I don't know what I'm going to do with the mouse. I prefer the Stardust because the clicks just feel a little bit tighter and binned. Now, while I was talking about that illusion of quality, so let me go over some of the problems I've had with both of these mice. Both of these mice have come with sensor rattle, especially on this such an expensive mouse. Now, these are both first batch, so I'll let them off. And nobody else I've had. They've had little bits of rattle inside the mouse. There are some spaces that like to rattle, but they don't affect the function of the mouse. I have had actual sensor rattle with both of these mice. On the Stardust, it was quite bad. Like, I could just do that and on pain, and I could see it rattling with the tape on the bottom. This mouse, I haven't fixed the sensor rattle in it because it's very, very minimum. To the point where the only way I can actually get it to do any rattle is to do like something like that. And like not just move it side to side, but kind of like shake it around and everything like that. If I've just got it on the pad doing that, even like a flick like that, it's not rattling. But it's rattling when I do like that, making it rattle. And at which point, because you kind of like end up banging them, well, I'm not banging the mouse. I'm having to really put a lot of force into it. And then even me think like, even though you're putting that force into it, you are still kind of tilting the mouse. So maybe that's causing it. Like, yeah. So I don't know. It's not worth fixing for me because I'm just going to use the Stardust anyway. And what I might do is when some aftermarket feet come out, because by the way, there aren't any core pads or anything for this yet. I'll get some core pads for both of these mice or one of these mice, and then I'll go to town fixing that issue. The sensor rattle in the Hati-S, all I have to do, take off the back foot, 2 screws, pop, 1 screw in the PCB, take it out, pop it off some clips. It's a little fiddly, so if you do have these issues, bear in mind. But there's a knack to it because it's a very small, delicate PCB, with it being such a lightweight mouse. And just I added some tape to under this plastic bit here to shim the sensor lens steady. It hasn't affected LOD. I don't feel like it feels fine. Mouse tester, running mouse tester on both these mouse. Both of them hold 800 DPI, 1000 Hz perfectly. No spin outs on either Razer Goliathus speed right now because I'm in between getting pads and I just needed something to replace the mud, which was the QCK. This mouse is just a stepping stone pad, but it's also a good pad to test on because a lot of people are going to have pads like these, just black, simple material, not massively expensive. So it's a good pad just to test sensor accuracy, and no issues with spin outs either of these mice, trying to. So it's confusing to me that this exists in the way that it exists, because all I'll say on the summation of this comparison between these mice, if you're okay with holes in your side of your mouse and you don't really care about the price difference and you just want what I would say, this has to feel very slightly better binned and you get this better cable with it. Grab this mouse. Grab the Stardust. If you've had issues, if you've got a surface, because some surfaces I don't like the 3389 too much, and I've been better with the 3360. I think some artisan pads, someone had some issue with them. I can't validate that. Or that you've got a surface where the 3389, because these are 2 different sensors, they're not using the same architecture. If you know that the 3389 doesn't work 100% or has spin outs, and that the 3360 is fine, I know this is a very small percentage of people I'm talking to right now, then grab the 3360 variant. If you don't like holes in the sides, grab the 3360 variant. If you don't care about RGB and this suits your setup more, and you don't care about the other differences, get this variant. If you want the nice paint job, this variant. If you want a mouse that you're going to use a bit, and then also keep the packaging and sell later as a collector's edition, get this variant. It's really awkward. Like I say, you paracord both of these fine if you need to. So I've said if you want the better cable, but it's not actually better than a paracord, right? It's hard. It's hard. If you're very anal about the weight of your mouse and you want the lightest mouse of these 2 possible, buy this variant. Other than that, the packaging's identical. These come with red grips for the red mouse. Other than that, yeah, exactly the same mouse. Dude, it's the same. And it's surprising because I thought I'd pick up the red one, but oh yeah, I can tell it's a different mouse. Nah. Exactly the same. It's just what it does is it makes a Stardust for the Stardust paint job, and the holes in the sides maybe feel a little less expensive because this is overpriced for what it should be. Because what you get, you get a lot of bells and whistles, but you shouldn't get bells and whistles with a mouse like this. This should be the cheap variant. My only thought is what they might do with the Hati-S Stardust is this is a limited production run. I don't know if it is, but with them marketing the Stardust the way they have, if this is a limited production run and they're going to stop and this is just going to be the main production run, so it's buy these while you can, but don't quote me on that because they're probably not going to do that because it's a Chinese company, they can just knock these out with a one. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope I've helped, although I'm pretty sure I've just confused a bunch of people. So tell me what you think in video description. Message me, whatever, if you've got me on Discord. I'm not giving out my Discord on YouTube. Come now. If you want any specific testing done, I want to see results of specific tests, if I can do that. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see what else I can do with these mice to find a difference. Bye.